last movie was quite a show, although we just wrote a maximum of 10 or 12 lines, but still, for the new user, I would say that was quite a concept. But now let's move ahead, and in this movie, I'm not going to write any single code. I would just like to talk about a lot of things that have changed over the years in the Apple development, from the iOS 5 to 7 to 9 and all of these things. Now, first and the foremost question that always come to for me, everywhere wherever I go is why this square storyboard. Now, you could have simply changed it to iPhone 4, 5 or 6, or you could have simply given us a landscape or a portrait mode, but why the square? Now, I have been arguing it for a very long time that square is the most generic piece where you can start for Apple development. Now, of course, also in the near future, you will not going to find the square iPhones or all of that, but this is the best place to get started. Now, what the Apple guideline says that we do not want to force you to develop for a landscape mode or maybe a portrait mode. Feel free to choose your own. And square is the most generic piece where Apple is not forcing you. But in fact, previously when it used to be have a mobile shape, it was just simply somewhere in the developer's head that I need to first start with that mode and not with the landscape mode. But this is not the case with the Apple in that time. And in this time, they simply want you to get started with the square piece, fulfill all the constraints so that your app can be designed simply for iPhone 4, 4S, 5, 5S, 6 or 6S, or maybe the 6 Plus as well, or maybe sometimes for the iPad as well. So if you learn hard that how you are going to have an auto layouts and constraint, then this is really a good piece of choice to get started. Again, these battery symbols and all of these are not working in that case. They are just part of a fiction out here just to give you a great look out there. Okay, one thing is clear that it is for our good, but still, if I get this guy out here and change it to this guy, the view controller, I can move on to the inspector element, the attribute inspector, and I can change my orientation to landscape or maybe portrait, or I can change my size to as well to iPhone 4.7 inch, and which makes it looks like a beautiful like an iPhone, and you can develop in that. But again, I would say this is not at all a good idea for that. But again, if you're specific about the device or you like it that way, that is a good point to have that. Now, for example, if you are looking for a generic iPhone 5.5 inch, then this is going to be for you. Again, you can have an orientation for the landscape as well, or maybe the portrait as well, whatever feels good to you. And the status bar is out there. Then you can play around with that. Okay, good with that. But now let's move ahead on to this guy out there. Again, I'll switch back to the inferred as well, so that this looks good. And also after that, I would like to talk about this guy as well. Now, apart from this, the folder icon, you'll see there is an icon and there is a pane out there which comes with the view control scene. Let's talk about it as well, little bit about that. Now you can see there is the first thing that says view controller. Now this is a view, and in fact in iPhone development you will see quite a lot about the views. There are tons of them, and in fact if I filter my views out there, you can see there are many views out there. There is a table view, there is a collection view, split view, page view, AVI kit, activity views, progress views, and a lot of them. Okay, let's come back here. So it gives you a guideline according to how you put your the attributes or the objects onto the screen. Like first of all, there is a top layout guide which gives you that this is the top layout guide. Now I'll not talk right about how you should be displaying it because that comes on to the HIG part. And there is a bottom layout guide as well, which is the bottom one. And there is a control view. Now this is the entire view. Now whenever any app is being loaded, this is the first view which loads up, and whatever the element you place inside this view are loaded after that. Like for example, if you put any button on that, you will see there is going to be a hierarchical view out there in that. So if I just have a button out there, and let me just place it somewhere, I'm not worried about where I'm placing. Notice there is a button out there. And after that, if I place a label, and there goes my label, I'm placing it anywhere, and notice the label goes after that. And also if I just click on the view, I have lots of views, controllers, and all of that. Now a lot of things can be done out here with the views, but again, like if I have a table view, table cell view, there is an image view as well. and a collection view, and a lot of them. I'll just scroll it down, and there is a picker view, and there is a view as well. So there is a single view as well. Let me just drag it for a moment, just anywhere, and make it a little bit big. Now what I want to show that you can have multiple views inside the views as well. So let me come back on to the button as well. I'll have a couple of buttons just here and here and here as well. So notice how hierarchical this view goes on. There is a first view, which is a default view. Inside that I have created my own view, and inside that now you will see this quite a little in all of the development, but still this goes on. And the one of the benefit is you can move it around. Once you have selected that, you can move all of them as the architecture, whatever you have placed, all of them. So this is the one part about how you go out that. We'll not talk about the first responder and the exit right now, but still there is this arrow I wanted to talk about. Now this arrow is displaying that this screen is going to be the first screen which is going to be on the launch. Now when designing or simply using an app like weather application or maybe email application, you'll see there are a lot of views in that. You click on a button, you are moved on to the next screen. So this icon here indicates that this is the entry point. This is the first view that is going to be loaded up on the screen. Okay. Now, what about the constraints and all of that? Now, I have placed a separate movie talking about the constraint, how to make sure that this button sticks just out there on the landscape mode as well as the portrait mode. It doesn't go anywhere. So we'll talk about that in the next movie. So this is what I wanted to talk about, the views and all of that. And definitely you'll see a lot of views out there. Okay, before that, I would like to also go up onto one more thing. That I'll get rid of this guy. Now, if really this doesn't suit you, that I don't want to have a square anything out there, there is a one more option. Go to the inspector mode out there, click on the automatic. In the preview, go to the main storyboard preview. Now, right now, this might be an iPhone 4, 4S. We are not sure about that. If we are not, I'll move on to it. I'll select this guy and I'll move a little bit. I'll in fact add my screen a little bit. So you can see there is an iPhone 4-inch and it is hardly visible in that case. I'll go onto the full screen mode and here it is. So iPhone 4-inch. If I click on that, I can rotate it onto the portrait mode. So again, for whatever device you are planning, you can have a preview out there. There is a small plus button at the bottom. Click on that and you can add as many devices as you wish, like iPhone 5.5-inch or maybe 4-inch. And all of that. So we got all of the views out there. So you can make sure that one of them is like in the portrait mode, one of them is in the landscape mode, and can check out all of that. Now, if you're not happy with that, just click on that and hit your delete key, and that is going to be deleted. And just keep one or two of them. It's a really good thing. But again, I would say that designing and developing onto a square box makes your application really wonderful. And it makes sure that you understand the feature that you are going to develop for many devices. iPhone 4, 5, 5, 6, and quite a lot of them. So, okay, quite an interesting movie, just full of talks, but yes, really important talks.